Hi everyone, welcome to KT Woodcraft. My name is Jim. This video is going to be a DIY home repair video where I'm rebuilding my deck. It's going to be a two-part series. This first series is going to be focused on rebuilding the joists and just reinforcing them before they accept the 4x4s for the handrails and the privacy wall behind me. So I'm going to show you a couple pictures of the old deck and what it looked like, and then let's get into the build. I already took off all of the old deck except for the original bare bones. Now the next step is to add these 2x8s onto the outsides all around, and these more are just going to be faceboards. Whatever paint the last homeowner put on, it's a very thick paint and I don't want to take the time to sand it, so I'm just doing these boards as a facing. I already have the first one cut, sticks out 1.5 inches right there, and that is so it'll butt right up against the next piece I'm putting across the front, and I'll do the same on the other side. And I'm going to be using those black screws you see right there. So let's get screwing. For this next part, this is going to be the faceboard of the front of it, and I'm conjoining them with two 45-degree angles, as you can see right here. If you're not comfortable cutting on the 45-degree angle, the one trick you can do is pre-cut your 45-degree just like I did. Reset your table saw up so that it's straight, and then go ahead, just measure it out to what you need using whichever side of the 45-degree angle you want. For even easier use, I'm making sure it's the pointy side, and then you just go ahead and mark out your size, and then just cut. Before I go and attach the second half of the front face frame, I just want to make sure that there's going to be no water that gets into this section right here, or just to mitigate as much of the water getting into that section as possible. So before I put them together, I'm going to run a bead of silicone all around the outside. And as I stated, this is just to make sure no water is getting in. This isn't to add any additional support or anything between the two pieces. And then with that piece put in, you can go ahead and just slip these pieces in just like that. And then clamp the pieces together. There we go. And then just add a little bit more caulk. And if you're wondering about the color too, this color was chosen just because it was an outdoor caulk and it could be painted. So since it can be painted, that's all I'm worried about. So 3 quick notes before we go on to our next part. The first thing is I do want to point out that I am using 2 separate bolts for this application, using a 6-inch and a 3-inch. All the bolts that are going into here are 6 inches. Everywhere where I just need to combine the 2 boards, such as the faces of the new and old boards, and at the corners, I'm only using 3-inch screws. Also, real quick, the reason, if you're wondering why I'm alternating and making a serpentine pattern with the bolts, that's to help keep the board from splitting. If you put too many at the same level the whole length along the board, there is a chance you could split it. It might not be as easy to split it with these bolts because they are a little bit thinner than if you were doing true 3/8-inch lag bolts. And the final thing is, if you're wondering about the strength of this front board, because I did cut it in the center, if I was completely replacing the old board, I would have bought a full-length board that would have went the whole way across. But since I'm marrying them together, I'm not too concerned about the strength because it does have this supporting board behind it that's one straight piece. So let's keep going. The next part I'm going to do is where the two lines are, you can see on the older boards. I'm going to cut them out, and they're going to essentially be a notched out for the 4x4 post that I'm installing. Okay, and now with that cut out, we're going to put a filler 4x4 in just to help with measurements and another supporting piece we're going to be entering. And you do want this nice and tight, so I'm going to have to hammer this in. And there we go. So now we just have to repeat that 2 more times on this side. I've now cut 3 notches out throughout the 8-foot section where my handrail 4x4s are going to be. Clamps are your best friend when you're working alone. I have the 2 clamped up here, which is the main support that's holding it on. And then I also have the spacer block right there, just to make sure it's not bowing in or something that will make the angle different. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the rim joist on, and then once that's done, do the same thing on the other side, and then move on to the next part. If you don't know, the one trick with these joist supports is you can hammer these in, and that'll hold it in place until you can get the nails in all the other spots. So you just simply nail that one in. With this board all connected in at the joist hanger down there, I'm now going to use these 6-inch screws and screw them in through this end to support this side. And there it is. Now that joist is fully supported, and we can move on to the rest of the areas. For the posts that are going to end right by the step, I'm going to line it up with the step right here. Measure it a straight line out like this. And then mark 3.5 inches from there. There you go, and that'll give you what to cut, and then it'll just be the same process I did over there of cutting it out. And then I'll show you how to block it once I get to that point. So here's the blocking I'm using for the front posts, and we're just going to slide it in between the joists, and then it isn't coming out quite level, but I'll show you what you can do to fix that. And for right now, we are going to clamp it so that it is level with this joist. With it even on the top of this one, just go ahead and screw 2 screws in the side. I'm only using 3-inch ones for this one. So it's up, and then there you go. And then we're going to release our clamp, pull our wrecking bar again, and then lift it up till it's level with this board, and then just grab our screws, and then body weight always helps. I'm using my shoulder currently to keep this level, and there we go. And now you can put the second one in, and it's perfectly even between both joists. I now have all the additional supports added to the bottom frame. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to add additional blocking over here on this side that I'm focusing on right now, just because that'll be a 6-foot privacy fence when we're done. So I want to make sure it has additional support compared to the other side. So the first thing I'm going to do to help strengthen the bottom of the structure is I took these 2-inch pieces, threw them in here, and then I'm going to reinforce them with those 6-inch screws that I've been using this whole time, because that will run the whole way through, almost out this board, and just make a strong structure. I'm going to drill one in from this side down below, since there isn't enough space really to get in this way. On this one, you're going to see me remove the screw, and then remove the screw on the outside, I should say, and then go in from the top up here. That one, because it's in between two screws, I'm just going to screw in line with the diagonal I started, and then I'm going to go in from the top with this 6-inch also. The next step is to add the blocking right here. What I did is I actually drilled 3 holes into this that I'm going to put those screws into. That ensures they all go through the center and ensures I know how much is going through the other end. So I'm going to stick these about 1 inch or so off from the 2-inch piece I stuck in. Grab a screw and then drill it in. And then just repeat the procedure for all the others. Okay. And then with that side in, you can come to this side. And this side I'm only going to put 2 in. And I'm just going to drill them straight into the board. And you see, it's much more stable with just that one extra piece included. So that ends the first part of my deck build. Real quick off camera, I did add some extra blocking to that side to reinforce it a little bit. It's going to be only 3-foot high handrails, so I'm not as concerned about the strength of it, but I did want to reinforce it a little bit. Come back in 2 weeks for my next video. I want to say thank you for watching it. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. That way you never have to remember how to sell Kittatinny again. Thank you. Bye.